With the 5th pick in the 2016 NBA TV mock draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Khris Dunn from Providence. The New Orleans Pelicans are on the clock.
Okay, great assist from Justin Kimbrell right there. Khris Dunn, I got to go to you, Mr. Associate Commissioner of the Big East.
Yes, before you even start to talk about how Khris Dunn makes your team better on the offensive end, you need to look at him defensively. This guy has the ability to become an elite defender in the NBA. He's got cat-like quickness. He has the anticipation skills of an NFL cornerback, and he's got a lot of grit to him, plays every single play. But offensively, he's explosive. He can handle the basketball. He runs the pick and roll extremely well, is very creative off the pick and roll. He can finish himself. He can find teammates in front of him, to the side of him, and in back of him. I'm really bullish on Khris Dunn as an NBA player.
He was one of the guys you had your eye on, DA. We talked about the draft in terms of a guy who could really tilt the draft one way or the other.
In a league that's a point guard league now, to me, this guy's the best player in the draft. To me. In a league, if you're playing under these rules nowadays, you need an elite point guard to have a chance, any chance, to be good in this league. And to Stu's point, the defensive piece is what really sells me on Khris Dunn. He gets after people. The offense is very good right now. I think it can get better. But the defense, he's elite now defensively. And we're talking about being able to turn people over, get out in transition, get the ball to three-point shooters. That's what this guy is going to do at a very high level.
Yeah, it would not surprise me if 5 or 6 years from now we look back and say this guy was the best player in this draft. I think the world of Khris Dunn. First of all, as a kid, incredible hardship that he went through as a youngster, and then even coming to college and getting hurt. Stu talked about his defense. When you talk to other coaches in the Big East, it's kind of like Revis Island. If he was on one end of the floor defensively, they wouldn't even try to run a play over there. And athletically, his frame and his game, he reminds me a lot of Dwayne Wade coming out of Marquette. Dwayne Wade didn't have that long distance shot, maybe even still, obviously not a great three-point shooter, but good enough that he's such a good athlete and such a good player. Khris Dunn's a kid you root for. He's going to be a success in the NBA, and it would not surprise me if he were a long-term All-Star. That's how good I think.
Well, if he's that good, we're talking about big impact for the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team with young talent now, Thibodeau in charge. And what about Ricky Rubio? What's he thinking?
Well, Ricky Rubio is certainly there short-term, but long-term, if you're looking to improve that team right away, it certainly would make sense. And look, Rubio is a very good defensive player. Don't get me wrong. He's been a very good defensive player the last few years, but had a history of injuries. Offensively, he's been very streaky. And so if I'm Tom Thibodeau, do you look point guard? Do you look two guard maybe for like a Buddy Hield type here? Could, sure, would make sense. Fills a need. I think most people will tell you, though, at the top of the draft, you don't fill need. You take the best player that you think is out there. And Khris Dunn's the best player by a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest difference to me, DA, between a guy like Rubio and a guy like Khris Dunn is that Dunn looks for his offense. And he is a guy, I've watched this guy for 2 years, he will take and make big shots. He wants that on his shoulders. The other intangible that Khris Dunn has that, a lot of very good players in the league do, he has a high give-a-damn factor, okay? He cares about winning. And, and I think that type of attitude really permeates throughout the teams that he's on.